Yes, it is. Oh, you too. Oh, good, that's fast. Thank you. Brianna's on board, no one else is on board. Good morning,
This is Penny.
Penny's here, follow up on, yeah. I got her on the schedule and I got, Mitchell that I contacted via email. All right. Well, let's see. This is my first meeting and wow, I'm so lucky to have a small crowd. So we'll start the meeting. It shows 8:31 on the computer. I'll take that. So we'll have introductions first. I'm Eric Van Zandt, the new chair. Be gentle.
I'm Clint Coleman, traffic safety member.
I'm Deanna Baltar, Vice Chairperson.
Spencer Pollock, Canby Public Works.
Gary Brett, Transportation Safety Committee.
Bob Campbell, commission member.
All right,
Penny Kistner, citizen.
all right. We'll have a couple more coming in.
Do we get Brianna introduced?
Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm Canby Planning.
Councilor President Tracy.
Tracy's here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tori, Tracy Hensley, City Council President, Liaison to the Commission.
All right. So introductions are done. Now we'll go through and we have the March minutes and April's minutes to go through and approve. Let's start with March. Anyone has any questions or concerns on the March minutes? Any questions?
I move that we approve the March meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good. And Deanna, are you taking notes, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I remember the scheduling stuff. Good morning.
I don't know if Mr. Miller's gonna be late. It's cool.
Okay, it's all good. So we just, do you have any questions or concerns about the March minutes? I'm gonna touch you off guard.
No, I don't.
Okay, all right, no problem. So they are approved. And now we have April's minutes to go through. Any questions or concerns?
I'm aware that we need to add Gary, that you attended last month.
Gary?
You were here last month, right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just forgot to add.
Oh, he's here my name,
Yeah.
so he's, I got a ticket left.
Sounds like
I talked myself out of it.
I know we approved the April 2024 minutes with the addition of Gary to in attendance.
And I believe my name was off too. That's why I sent the email.
Okay.
And yeah,
I didn't have a sign-in sheet.
Yeah.
is there a second?
I second the motion.
Action.
Okay, motion and seconds on the board. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing that pass. So April's done. We got that caught up. We have a sign sheet done. That's awesome. Let's hand it to Deanna now that so she can have that copy. They're old ones. Good morning, Jennifer's here.
Oh, okay.
With the minutes all being approved for March and April, let's go to citizen input. And we have Penny that's here to do a follow-up. And with that being said, Penny, how can we help you today?
Yeah, I appreciate all of the changes that you made in the traffic studies that you did on Holly, and especially the signs that were added to Holly and Knightsbridge.
Good.
That seems to be working really well, being like the second house from that intersection. I used to hear a lot of horns honking and, you know, screeching the tires, and I don't hear that as much now. Bob told me that the stop sign request for Holly and 10th was not approved. because of the traffic flow on 10th. So I was wondering how the stop sign on Ivy and 10th was added, because I'm assuming that the traffic flow would still be the same.
Okay, and I think Spencer, you might have a good explanation along with Bob.
I was gonna say, Bob, I think you and Clint were here when we put that in.
I think-
I was.
I think that intersection, if I remember correctly, had a high level of accidents.
Yes. There's a history of accidents there,
Yes.
where the other intersections do not.
There we go.
But
And you can only put so many
Mhm.
stop signs in a stretch.
But the history of it is the most telling about the story that behind that intersection. Originally, historically, Kent was the through street. And the stop signs were on Ivy.
Yeah.
And because as Ivy became much more busy, Clint, you correct me if I'm wrong, because you were chairperson at the time. As Ivy became much more busy, it became a hazard. Because people were reluctant to stop on Ivy. So the logical thing to do, because there was resistance to switching the signs around, was to convert that to a four-way stop, because historically the stop signs are on Ivy and people were going straight through on Kent.
Oh, okay, so it was a two-way stop converted to a four-way stop.
So that became the logical historical move. And in fact, what has happened is Kent has become much more busy because it flows all the development on, at least in my perspective, I use Kent a lot because I live on Maple. The development on Pine Street and other places have filtered to use Kent. And so, but Kent doesn't go all the way through. I mean, it goes through, but traffic, a lot of traffic don't go through. They turn onto Ivy
To get to 99.
to get to 99, to get to downtown, they come up and they
So-
turn. So that's a busy intersection and there's enough traffic going both ways. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, my experience is there's enough traffic going both ways that people, it's very functional. There's not much disparity.
And it may very well be eligible for one in the future. For example, North Redwood and Territorial didn't have a four-way stop for a good long time.
Mhm.
And, as Redwood's built out, just like you're experiencing, Northwood's building out
Yeah,
and Holland's getting busier. So, I mean, that's one to watch. It certainly could happen in the future.
yeah, we can keep it on your radar and, or if there's another intersection like 9th and Holly. What I was looking for is some kind of a break between 4th and Territorial on Holly, because the cars just, I mean, they get speed up and then they just go, they fly, and so. I know stop signs are created for, what Bob reminded me, they're not created for the speed, but it does create a hazard if you're trying to turn on there.
Mhm.
And actually at 9th and 10th, there's really tall arborvitaes.
Mhm.
So if you're coming from the Catholic Church turning on the Holly, you can't see on that corner either, so. I don't know, maybe you can keep, maybe look at a different area, it doesn't necessarily have to be 10th and Holly, but. That would be great.
Is that arborvitae potentially like in a path where you guys can turn it back from?
It technically meets all of the city codes. Trust me,
It is a terrible intersection. It doesn't have the same traffic flow, but I used to live on 9th between Holly and Ivy. So it's to bring a bottle of water. But anyway.
we fixed it.
Yeah, it wasn't new. They fixed it. It wasn't that crime. But anyway. I would witness accidents at 9th and Holly
Yeah.
quite often, but it doesn't have the same flow on 9th as it does 10th. So that threshold for a stop sign probably isn't there, even though the danger was, the intersection's there. There was one time, this big bucket truck goes down right in front of my house and didn't stop on 9th because the tree at Tim's house was covering the stop sign. And he just plowed his car right into that the arborvitae house's yard. it was terrible.
Well,
So-
there's a history of accidents, but maybe we haven't looked closely at it before. Is there a way to kind of look through the archives with the police to see if
Possibly.
we've got like a number of accidents there that we could use as a justification, like we did for 10th and Ivy back in the day?
Possibly, we need to get to, we can ask them, but, and I haven't lived there for 9 years now, so things might be different, but that was the case when I was there. It's not a fun spot. But we could probably ask him if there's worth a shot. Yeah,
But remember, the real problem Penny's presenting is speed.
true.
And
2 birds, 1 stone.
I'm just saying, the answer is to deal with the speed.
Speed's different, right, yes.
And I'm gonna just let my song keep running over and over again, which is traffic, computer speed enforcement on certain streets would solve this problem, as it did when the officer was able to target it for a week.
Yeah, that slowed everybody down for a while, yeah.
So all I'm trying to say is, some of these
Yeah.
streets, instead of putting other things in place, if we had a computer enforcement there, people would slow down.
Yeah, we definitely changed behavior.
So I.
Where would you put it though? Would it be like, because the stoplights, I know you put them on stoplights, but would you put it on like the street? lamps or-
With that system, it's a mobile system.
Yeah.
So you can have different locations.
So it's like
It's
the speed trailer?
No, you can actually disguise it in a garbage can,
Oh, okay.
if you get technical.
Trouble is, we haven't been able to get it yet,
We're still working on the process.
but anyway, I just don't want us to go off on tangent.
Well, it's not necessarily
Yeah.
speed though, too. It's also, if you have Holly being as busy as it is, and there's only a stop sign on Fourth, and then it's clear to Territorial. I mean, we need a little bit of a break in between, I think, too.
It's basically 10 blocks, that's a lot.
Yeah. So, and, with all the houses that are on the other side of Holly that they just built, and they're probably gonna build more, unfortunately. We need a little bit more of a break on Holly too, so. The other question I had is, I know you were looking at you guys were gonna check and see how many, speed limit signs there were. And I don't know if you followed up on that.
I had it counted. I know that there's one at 12.
Yeah, I know there's one, I've seen that one, but that's about the only one I've seen.
There's one, I believe, early on,
There's another one at
by
6.
closer to Territorial. coming down.
Yep.
There's one, when you enter Territorial, there's one there across from the church on Hollow.
I think from that entire stretch that there's 2 going in each direction. I think there's ones on opposite sides of 12th, one down at 6th, and then like Bob was saying, is one kind of right there at the Holly Corner subdivision. If my memory serves correct.
Would one closer to Knightsbridge be good for people turning on the Hollow from Knightsbridge?
It would end up probably being closer to 10th, just because, like maybe fit it in at 9th, because you don't want a speed sign right at where somebody's
Yeah.
turning, and there's already kind of a little bit of an excess of signs all right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was,
But I could look to see if there is a good spot, but more than likely it would be closer to 10th.
yeah, just a reminder that this is residential because, like the speed thing, they're going like 40 miles an hour down the street, it's only 25, so. Yeah, so that, I probably won't be at the next one, but if you could just look at that and then maybe, if you look at 9th and Holly as a stop sign possibility. I know that it gets a little busy because the church has the pantry, but it also has the services and stuff. So that might be a good place.
And to follow up on that, you can always watch the, this broadcast and keep a tab of us to see where we are in the process of things, on YouTube and through the city council
Okay,
or the, little local channel, broadcast.
is there a link for that? Or maybe you
I
can-
don't know about the local city one, but, on YouTube, just put in City of Canby and then you can just find the traffic
Right.
signal.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, we want to broadcast.
Yeah, I don't think it gets broadcasted and on the local channel.
We don't have CGI
Oh.
video,
Oh,
But everything's on YouTube after that.
well, YouTube then, so yes,
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
you. Take care, have a good day.
You too.
And following up on that, sounds like the issue's been resolved to the best of our knowledge. Maybe you can look into this one extra sign.
I will look into adding a sign off of Holly, right off of that bridge.
Right.
Good job on adding your yellow striping on,
Oh,
there at that corner and then up by the big rock.
That rock is up.
Yeah, it's yellow. It came to that.
Just yellow,
Gonna be effective.
at this point in time, they just painted it real quick. Their plan was to get one coat down, come back and do a second coat and add the, was like.
so I had a email, presented to me from a gentleman, Mr. Mitchell. And he was concerned about, speeding and distracted driving and speed bumps on North Redwood. So imagine that.
North Redwood is a speedway.
So,
I live there. It's not because of me that it's a speedway.
I'm sorry, you were late today? No.
Yeah, because I should money.
So, I'll just pass that on to, AJ and, regarding speed bumps, we're gonna have probably a few future discussions about that. So, and then speeding, Bob will continue to sing that song and,
I
we'll.
don't know if you wanna do a step.
I was trying to remember,
I sent you some stuff.
you sent all of those. I didn't get a chance to look at the date on those, on when the last one was. But I can,
So before you do that, let me go through all that stuff.
Sure.
And, and, break it down and so we can try to get on to another, list,
Yeah.
another routine type thing, so.
Isn't North Redwood scheduled for a repave after July?
it is. It went out to bid, we got bids back, there hasn't been a contract awarded yet, but yes, it is scheduled to get repaid from 13th all the way down to Territorial.
And it'll become a city street instead of a.
It is currently a city street. We
Oh.
took that over from the county a year ago, 2 years ago.
Good job.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Which means it'll go even faster.
They'll go even faster.
So we'll have to do something.
There will be,
A lot smoother.
Yeah, it's terrible right now, and they're already going fast, so we'll have to think about speed mitigation somehow.
yes,
Bob's probably not.
I have a suggestion,
Cameras.
but it's,
It's the speed bumps.
So,
well, they're called speed cushions.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what we got, the actual bumps.
so
Okay.
13th to territorial, so it's not gonna be repaved from like 99.
that was done 2 years ago.
Isn't it like only half of the road, it like was done in the?
So we waited until a couple of the subdivisions were in and the developers were required to do their half street developments. And once they got done, we went through and started just shy of the tracks all the way up to their developments, and then we did the other side of the street.
Gotcha.
So there is a joint in the asphalt, but it is new asphalt all the way to 13th.
I think it's one of those ones where I just don't take terribly off. And then you start on the bumps and it just, in your mind, it
Yes.
keeps going further than it probably really does. So, all right, thank you.
So along with that, let's follow up, just wanted to touch base on last month's, citizen input. We had Joe's, comments regarding South Knot. And the study on that. And everything worked out okay. I haven't heard back from Joe on that. Bob, have you heard anything from Joe?
No, yeah, he did one, there was one thing that thought we were going to do, right?
You were gonna explain the difference between speed,
Well,
low number of cars.
we asked him to get the speed wagon and he accepted that the numbers weren't concerned. And then I think he accepted that the street light that he was thinking about is part of a future.
I'm waiting to hear back for sure on what the developer's timeline is.
Yeah.
Because we can put it up now, it would just be, we would be paying 2 or 3 times, between, mounting it, if it needs to get relocated again, and then, so it'd just be however many times we want to pay the power company to go set up, tear down the light kind of thing, to go along with the development, so if I know for sure what their timeline is, then I can get back to you guys and Joe on when the light
And
would
this
go up.
intersection was,
It's mid-block on South Knot.
Yeah, it was right there at the bend. So right there at the, entrance into the new, complex of.
Yeah.
All right, so past months have been taken care of, this month's been taken care of. So with that being done from the citizen input, we'll move into old business. I'd like to have Bob and Spencer go over their presentation.
Sure, and I don't want to leave out. Yeah,
Brianna, yes.
because she was very
I would imagine
valuable
very
in
insightful.
providing terrific input as far as some of the concerns that need to be addressed. So I need to tell you, this is a threesome that has been working hard on this thing. And we met, and I have up an example. This thing has evolved, okay? Because of the good input that was given, it was felt that we needed to do some serious kind of altering of our original trajectory of how we went about it. In effect, we needed to come up with some set of procedures that would help people know how to carry it out, instead of just some random thoughts, okay? So let me just kind of go through, and this is still evolving. I need to meet with the brain people behind here, Spencer and Brianna, again, to see how we can keep on tweaking this to make it really palatable. It starts off with individual groups advocating for the change must provide a copy to the city of Canby, approve a letter to affect the community members, both, both occupants of the dwelling and the owners, because sometimes there could be rentals involved. Indicating a specific change being sought and the avenue for submitting comments, a copy of all the addresses of parties and the households affected, and a notarized affidavit of each party and household being certified and mailed out. In other words, this addresses that whole issue about being notified and how to get, instead of trying to go with 85% of the people approving and things like this can now be the standard, because people are going to have a chance and opportunity to sit and make comments and things like that if they choose to. So
where do those addresses come from? Does planning have access to a database that can say within this radius, these are the addresses it can send to? These are places like that when there's going to be something built, but those come from the developer, so I don't know who has access to the addresses.
I don't know.
They're available. The county will give them for free at the assessor's office. And they usually have a pretty quick turnaround. It's impressive. So the applicant would just go to Clackamas County assessors directly. So we can put that in the information on the application.
Awesome, thank you.
And so in effect, we would ask that the planning department, and I just put them in right now, this kind of filler, will provide an example, a model acceptable letter. You know, I figured we receive a lot of those kind of letters, you know, so I figured from developers, I figured they could kind of come up with a standard. Going on, before any change is sent to the city council, it'll be reviewed by Public Works through a pre-construction review process to gather all of the input and send it on before. I have attended some of those pre-construction meetings, and what it does is it brings a ton of people together, fire, police, all kinds of utility people together, and they provide good feedback about this, the idea. And that would be a forum, kind of from a construction point of view, and for the county city people, a forum to say their input. And then it would be sent on forward, you know?
I would say, Bob, I don't know if we would actually include all of the
Yes.
utility providers, just because I love I think police and fire would be a good one, but I don't think,
You
I
can-
love them, but the phone company probably isn't gonna say much if you lower this.
And they're probably not gonna go spend down the road.
You
Now,
can
what's
tweak
that?
that, you can tweak that, and I use the pre-construction review as just a concept.
Right,
But you guys would tweak who would be the members that should be included in it, you know, I mean, you know. But it's the concept of getting everybody in the same room.
And would we allow public, people to come in and observe or make comments at that point, or would that be something separate?
so
Because typically they don't come.
typically, for a true pre-construction, it would be just like the developer and their contractor, but then we also hold a utility meeting, which is just all of us kind of brainstorming together, making sure that we are all on the same page before going and having those meetings. So that one would more than likely be probably police, fire, someone from Public Works, and maybe a commission member.
And probably the person who's advocating for it,
We would,
so that they can explain.
I think it would be probably better for if we had whoever's advocating.
Whatever we think they should absorb the cost of the change. Okay?
And we can probably say that, in most instances, that's going to be 3 stop signs, or, not stop signs, speed signs and something else where we can give them an estimate of what that's going to cost ahead of time.
And staff time to do all of this.
Yeah.
I was just, because I was gonna ask Brianna if they were gonna give us on a fee schedule, because I'm all for this process, but I know it also takes a lot of staff time, and that staff time costs us money, which in turn costs, the taxpayers money, and I'm the steward of the taxpayers' dollars, so therefore we need to recoup costs.
So I'm just trying to make it more reasonable for everybody. The boundaries of the proposed area need to be clearly defined. The use of this concept on a segment of roadway not bound by stop signs is greatly discouraged. So in other words, if somebody comes to us on Holly Street and wants the drop in speed between 9th and 10th, that's gonna be, it ain't gonna happen.
Right, that's
Now,
why we need the criteria, yeah.
So, but there are roadways, there is like school zones that happen in the middle of like Ivy. But that is community accepted, that needs to happen for the safety of our children. This is different. It's still the safety of the people, but it is not as widely acceptable.
To piggyback on that just a smidge, we want to defer some of the labor costs of using city staff time, but probably not 100% of it, because if it's being brought to us and we're concerned about it and we're moving forward with it, like there's a community justification for seeing its way through the process. So
Yeah, Brianna, would you venture to say that our fee schedule currently does not 100% cost recovery, it's just an offset? I mean, as it sits now, I mean, does it cost, your pre-construction reviews, are we getting 100% cost recovery? I would venture to say not.
No, not 100%. We've definitely made up some of the deficit with our last two updates, so it's closer than it was, but not 100%.
So we're already kind of subsidized the process, so I don't think it's too much to ask them to pay.
Put some skin in the game.
Exactly, because this is not necessarily required. It's something that
They're asking
it's a
for it.
service we're offering. Yes, it can be done. We do have state statutes that can only go 5 below and all that.
do we have like a ball, like could somebody spitball a number of like roughly what that cost might be? Cause it's like, there's a huge difference between saying we're gonna have you pay for all these signs, which will probably be a couple $1,000s. And then we're adding labor costs on top of it. It's like how big, there's a big difference between, are we asking for $300 or $500? Are we saying it's gonna cost $3,000? Because everybody calculates their labor time differently.
How much are signs for this expensive?
Currently, right now, call it a 20-mile-an-hour speed sign and post is gonna be probably just under $100.
Oh, they're
Somewhere
way
between-
cheaper than, okay.
Somewhere between 75 and 100, that's just for the material though.
And then there's.
So then
And then
the time of constructing, making the sign, going out, installing, you're probably realistically looking at. They're probably gonna write down an hour for the whole project, so it's probably gonna be around $300.
Okay, that's still really reasonable. I was thinking more than, there'd be more.
$300 per sign.
If they were going and doing a bunch of them, then that would probably come down because your labor.
So you're gonna have at least, well, you're gonna have at least one on Second and one on Aspen, probably another couple throughout, so probably 4 or 5 signs.
Yeah,
So we're looking at we're looking at about, well, 500 for the signs plus installation, probably $750, $800.
we probably do it.
Plus for whatever else, the
Yeah.
fees, the,
Yeah.
accessories,
Brianna?
so.
What would be like your ballpark estimate that the permit process fee would be?
Well, in the fee schedule right now, staff time is 150 an hour. Site plans are 150. So whether those take specifically an hour or not, we kind of let it average out. How much staff time this would take, it's tough to say. But 150 an hour is the going rate right now in the fee schedule.
So right now, we couldn't put a price on it. It would have to be, because of inflation and time.
And we'll just for general discussion and kind of throw that out there. Like, it's one thing, like usually, like anything I've done that's fee based, it's like, maybe they're paying me $60 an hour, but they're paying, the rate is like $150, $200, whatever, to the person on the other side of it. So it's not usually like a literal breakdown of what are you paying the person doing the work, it's more of like, what's the labor cost in quotes. So it sounds like we're very reasonable with our fees and that most people would probably not be turned off by it.
Yeah, this project is
For
probably
helping
like
that.
$100, all in all, at most, I would think, but. And the HOA,
Okay,
like dues for a reason, I suppose.
So the Darcy estate would fit this description in the sense that it is bound by stop signs. So it is self-contained and, as opposed to some other kinds of areas. You can see the difference between the thinking behind it. The Guerrero Escafroway must be categorized as a local residential. All structures in the development are rated at 1.5 or 2 or above for density, or density is higher than the minimum allowed by the zoning. I tried to capture what Brianna and Spencer were trying to tell me.
I think they got it.
And then the road width talks about you know, it has to fit the local road standards. And then there's a movable multiple curves thing, and then the proximity to a park. We eliminated the school zone thing because
They have their own.
they have their own little jurisdiction related to that. Roundabouts didn't seem to make much sense, because roundabouts is supposed to ease traffic instead of use it as a criteria, and that was too restrictive. We only have a limited roundabouts.
Really actually only have
Yeah,
one-ish, it's a half a roundabout, by the theater.
Yeah.
It's a half a roundabout.
so,
One in Darcy Estates can be counted as a roundabout because there's stop signs all the way around it.
that's the procedure and the criteria. And then it would go to city council. It went through all the steps.
And are we asking that all of the criteria are met in order to move forward, or has that part of it been discussed?
I know we didn't come to a decision about that, because you don't have to, it would be, these are the things that the city council is going to examine, and this committee will examine to see if it makes sense.
6 criteria. Set, I'm sorry,
1, 2,
4 through 9 should be the criteria. That's the first clear process.
Yeah.
Um,
and there may be some unique ones for each area that, as to why they think they.
Maybe there's a note that if a criteria isn't met, it can still be, you know, if they agreed all the terms, that they could still bring it for an initial review. The reason I'm throwing that out there is because number 8, saying that the roadways have to have a minimum threshold of 80%. Like, all these other criteria really give us lots of latitude to evaluate individual situations and could it benefit a specific area. 8 pretty much limits it to Darcy Estates, period, because there aren't very many other multiple curves. So we've done a lot of work coming up with like an actual standard and like review language and stuff, and then we're basically undermining it by saying, if not Darcy Estates, you're never gonna make it through the cut. So
I know not really part of the committee, but I do want to point out that with new construction, there are more places that are going in multiple curves. The question is, how much of the other criteria will it meet? I mean, there's multiple curves in pretty much any townhouse situation. And I know this from delivering stuff, I, twist my ankle on many of them. So over off of 3rd, across the street from Darcy Estates, all those ones between Cedar and Johnson Controls or Clarios, all of those have multiple curves, but it is a dead end road in that case. Garden Crossing up off of Redwood, multiple curves. What is that one called on the 6 on Manzanita? That's got, actually it's got a gate there on territorial side. That development has multiple curves.
Yeah.
I can't remember the English. So there are others, so as new construction happens, there is the possibility of multiple curves coming in that weren't there before, so I kind of like leaving that one there as a.
well, I
criteria.
wouldn't suggest taking it out, just maybe making a little asterisk note on any documentation we're providing that.
What I can do is
we can-
divide
Maybe they have to.
the
be
process statements from the criteria and write something to the following are examples of criteria that will be considered.
That's-
Then, okay, it's
Rather
not,
than require a percentage.
Yeah.
it is,
These are the types of criteria that are gonna be
Yeah, okay.
considered. There can be types as opposed to the exact criteria.
we will continue working on, bring it back.
Real quick, just saying it is, Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole point of this was to make sure that council didn't get flooded with every neighborhood wanting to come in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that would be in a lot of places where it just
It's just
doesn't
not
make sense,
appropriate.
because it does need to be a local street. And what are some of the reasons why we were okay with doing it with Darcy? I had a train of thought and I lost it, so.
Zero.
But the zoning and
You
the
don't want
development
people like,
curves.
I hate to, you don't want us citizens coming concerned with speeding on Holly Street, coming asking for Holly to drop down to 20 miles per hour.
Well, you gotta.
You know what I mean?
understand, One way in, one way out, go through traffic at this state here.
Correct, and so that was one of the things for a criteria, is that one's got a defined boundary
Contained.
that isn't segmented by stop signs. You know, it's a neighborhood, it feels like a neighborhood, and
You
trying
enter it,
to,
you exit it, you don't go through it.
correct, so trying to limit the scope of what people can first come to traffic safety to discuss, to try and figure out, go through the process, and then go through a little bit of a review process on city staff time, and then go back to city council. I don't know if one of the things that we need to add on here is approval from this commission.
I would think the process should start here. And this commission would suggest, here's a form to fill out, take it to the city.
Yeah, because like we're reviewing everything and making sure it seems like a reasonable candidate for this, as opposed to someone coming to us with this and saying, I will do it.
Yes, because then that way they at least can talk with other citizens and be like, you can try to apply, but you're probably not gonna lower the speed on Holly with this avenue. Or it's, you guys can all sit there and say, hey, this makes sense. Here's criteria, here's all of this, and then this commission could also offer a recommendation to city council. For
Another,
that to,
if I can add one thing, you know, another neighborhood that's kind of unique like this one, is at Locks Park. When you say, I mean, when you drop down in there, I mean, it's
Go into the locks, yeah.
really
Not multiple curves.
high,
Yeah, it does.
high speeds down there would not be practical at all. And that would seem like another neighborhood that should.
Yeah, and I don't know, there's a lot of speeding within
No,
the roads,
yeah.
Yeah.
but going down the hill,
Oh, down the
for sure.
The only my little concern about this process is, by definition, streets like, was that South Pine? Off Township, that we had people come talk to us. Between Township and 13th Street.
there is limited access, it is clear boundaries,
It's
It is
our
close
one
to
zone
our-
though, and
it
it has
is
wider
zone-
streets,
it is
so we
zone
have a
R1.
couple marks against.
Yes.
Supporting some of that.
The zoning wouldn't fit because you know, as far as density, because it's all mainly single family along that roadway and not.
And the normal curves, and they might have wide enough streets to double park on either side.
yeah.
So they've got a lot of things against them, so they wouldn't be able to move forward. So I feel like it's a really good cross section of things. And it really does cover both the intent and a reasonable path forward for implementation. I only wanted to bring up are these firm for every single one, every single time? Because it seems like you always need a little bit of wiggle room to apply reason.
But Bob actually does bring up a great point, is off of just for like that area where it's. 11th to 12th loop, those are very defined little streets, it's not a through street. What's to keep everyone on this street coming and asking for city council to lower the speed?
Only thing is. Length.
Well, that's not the
You just,
only.
well, I'm just saying. You're gonna have to make a decision first. Is this a serious enough problem
To recommend it.
for you to want to take it through this process and also pay the bill for it? I mean, I hate to put it that way, but I mean, you know, that limits the person who just impulsively wants the city to do something that, and it's not a significant enough of a problem.
But it has at least three strikes against it. It's R1 zones, it has regular curves, and it has a wide enough street that you can park on both sides and still easily get through. So I don't see why anybody would ever, besides giving them the suggested criteria, how it would ever even move forward beyond that, because we wouldn't recommend it. We'd say that doesn't make sense, it doesn't meet the criteria. It's got so many things that don't align with the intent of this, and very specifically, it doesn't meet these rules. So they'd be dead in the water right?
So food for thought, and then let's continue to draft it
Yes,
and come back next month.
and applaud to both my partners
It's Brianna.
and to Spencer.
And-
Wouldn't have gone this far without their help.
Brianna did most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And the best is yet to come, right?
It was very collaborative, and yeah, more iterations to come, but I think we have a very good start.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Bob, Spencer, and Brianna for that. Appreciate it. Next we have, utilizing the media and education for traffic concerns. For you guys to show, whoever would like.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. We did try to make it a page that didn't go over well. At least I couldn't get it, whatever Facebook was making me try to do, I just would not let me create it. We kept the traffic page for that group for now. And I think I sent you guys all a link, but then we were talking, if you guys, as a group, or we wanted to do something different.
It wouldn't let you create it as a page?
Yeah, I was trying, I've done it before,
Yeah.
so I don't, it was like the
So it's
cat.
easier to throw it on Canby now, if people like it, than you try to change it,
Yeah.
it's kind of change. But that's weird.
But I mean, I was able to make it public, I can make it public.
Yeah,
It's
but
already
groups
started.
take a lot more work to add them to.
Yeah, which I already am familiar with, so it's what I'm already doing with a couple of other groups. But, so I've learned how to put keywords into,
Whatever's easiest for you, and if you down the road can make it a page, so be it. If not, then we'll just advertise it as is.
yeah.
And it's been pretty good for like keeping things informed about what's going on within the area and just kind of alerting people when there's gonna be like road closure or something too, just so that people have a spot to go to get updates. So I think it's helpful.
And do we do not have the Willamette View, whatever, I forgot the name of the broadcast company that does.
Willamette Falls,
Willamette
They
Falls.
do our broadcasting, but they're in Oregon City,
Right, Right.
CTV five kind of
right.
came under them now.
Okay,
So they do our broadcasting, we don't have local.
so I was gonna suggest also, if you guys want to, I went to their classes. So you schedule a day to go in, and it's like $10 you pay, and they do a background check on you. And then you go in and review all their equipment they have, and so you can make a TV commercial out of it. And they have some pretty neat tools. And if you guys would ever like to go down that road, I'd love to help.
That might help with the train safety PSA that we were talking.
So let me know, and I'd love to jump in and help on that.
If you talk to Chief Trow about that, because I know they're gonna be doing the rail safety thing with the school here soon.
Okay.
So that might be good to work together on
Yeah.
that
So
project.
yeah,
And
that'd be
offer some other concerns.
Cool.
And if it'd be acceptable, I'm a little dude who's 6 who would love to see how it works.
Yeah.
If you guys are ready for that.
So another thing I'd like to cover, real quickly, I went through the YouTube, reviews, how many people watched our broadcast on this. And so January, we had 28 people, February, we had 21, March, we had 11, and April, we had 12.
So watch this meeting.
Watch this meeting. So
We're picking up on city council. here.
There's
definitely some interest.
so we're gonna aim a little higher now. See what we can do here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Before we move on again.
No, go ahead,
So this
I'm
was
sorry.
me- So do we have the blessing to share this on the Canby now or Canby Central? We just did a small little group right now.
Well, it depends on if you wanna keep managing it as a group, or if you wanna try and, again, to try and make it a page. That's, because it could, I mean, if it grows, I mean, I know you know how to admin, but everybody only has so many hours in a day, so do you really wanna admin another group, or do you wanna just have it live as a page and you pay attention to it when you post it? Because with the group, you gotta kind of like babysit them, like they get out and really, and wherever the page, you can shut
I
down.
think people get used to sleep at night.
So I know next to nothing about Facebook as someone who has refused to participate, but I like the idea of whatever we're doing, that we do post to Canby now. Because I feel like that's where there's the most community
Right.
engagement. Like, people don't pay attention to the city Facebook page, people don't pay attention to like anything really formal, but if we're kind of bringing it to the audience that way, if there is or isn't like a highly maintained group behind it or not, but if we're posting as a group and putting it there, I think that's where people would actually see it, potentially engage with it.
True, it's just the question is, do we want it as a pager or group? And ultimately, that's your decision, I think, because you're the one that's gonna man it and, at least for now.
Do it for a while, and if it doesn't work, then I can.
And you can up the viewership by posting the YouTube of this meeting on that page.
Or discourage it, because people are like, I don't want to listen to that for 2 hours.
I'm all in favor for it. I don't think we need a motion or a second or anything, but if everyone
So my own.
goes for it.
Time.
You might as well go through the formality with it.
Okay, well, someone like to make a motion?
Publishing your group. You're proposing the
I moved you guys continue your effort and your journey to do something on Facebook.
With utilizing your best utilizing your best judgment of what would be the best path forward.
Yes,
So I think you're seconding it.
I'm seconding that, yeah.
okay.
Okay, we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Your most informal motion ever.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right,
Not sanctioned by this.
Go forth and move on.
there you go.
Make it so number one.
Any questions, ladies? Any more?
So you said, that's a magic word now, you said you're gonna man this program,
Oh,
and you have ladies and.
or woman it,
She's gonna lead it.
human it.
I can kick people out.
Person in position, person in power.
And you run,
I
just
expect
one
more
more thing, you run your things you're gonna put on there by observing, right? Make sure that we're supporting their efforts and vice versa.
We like share things from the police
Okay.
site and things like
So
that,
it's not-
so we're not like,
It's not official.
So in terms of the social media stuff, our police department has revamped, I guess you could say. We have somebody that's dedicated to the social media page now, that's an officer, that's like consistently now posting things when we do things or certain incidents, or he'll go through like a week worth of like incidents that we've responded to or calls for service. So it sounds like we're gonna be more proactive on Facebook. So what kind of the agreed upon thing with the chief is that Facebook page for the Traffic Safety Commission could share like the Canby Police Facebook posts, but the Traffic Safety Commission Facebook page would be, or the Traffic Safety page would be primarily for sharing, you know, the minutes for the Traffic Safety Commission meetings, or like, you know, the speed data from Public Works, and that Canby Police is gonna be in, you know, potentially enforcing this if it's an issue or whatever. It's, so the chief wants to keep things that are primarily with the police department on the police department Facebook page. So
Cool. All right, and next on the subjects is accident data. I think we're gonna settle and try to reamp that a little bit. I know the original intent, and I'm gonna try to continue with that, but I'm gonna figure out a different way to get some data and stuff like that, so we can start really coming up and mapping it also, because I know that we wanted to map it. So that's work in progress. The next one is speed enforcement, which I noticed I just put seed enforcement. That's cute. I'm not gonna seed anything. Speed enforcement is still a work in progress. I put it back on the back burner while I was trying to prepare for this month's meeting. So next month I will do both at the same time. The ongoing list to do, which is Bob's old list that is so polite to hand to me. And I don't know how I want to go about this. Cause it says like the major projects, Highway 99E. If you wanna give us a quick highlight. Anything major?
Thing that he put was going on out there, it's changed constantly,
And
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're closing Ivy on Friday and opening Grant.
Friday, potentially Saturday morning,
Okay,
they're gonna open Grant, Ivy's gonna be closed. I think Elm will stay open.
Hope so.
They're gonna start, it sounds like they're gonna go back and forth with paving, so they're doing between Elm and Berg on the southbound side. And then they're gonna jump back when they're done with that, I think to like
Pine to like,
Ivy-ish.
Ivy-ish.
Yeah.
No, they don't tell me what they're doing.
I went yesterday and that's what it sounds like they're gonna do. As far as we know right now, they're closing Ivy on Friday. I think so.
For
You think so?
now,
For now, okay.
Subject to change.
So it's a work in progress, you know, but they look like they finished the tunneling through Ivy, the intersection of Ivy, right?
Like the dry walls and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they're all done with the dry.
all of the main storm pipe going through town should be done. Right now, what they're doing is where they're putting catch basins, tying the new catch basins into that storm line.
Okay.
So at the point where they're paving, that's kind of the final step for those areas, or?
No, not really.
No,
Okay.
we have till October,
Wait, what?
until October.
Until October. This is our Halloween present.
They have a roadblock right now with Ace Glass, the scaffolding right there at the corner of Ivy and 99.
Yeah.
They're having to go through, I think Ace Glass's insurance company is having to do some like planning, like a detailed, they're gonna try to have to figure out what they're gonna do, because it's in the ODOT right away. And so ODOT's trying to work with the business right now, the business owner, to try to take care of that part of it.
Interesting.
Cause they're not gonna pave this in segments, right? They're gonna pave continuously to get a good, I'm hoping
It
it's
sounds
gonna
like
be
segments.
continuous so that it'll be a good stop, right?
This is ODOT, it's probably gonna be segment.
Yeah, that's why I was
They
curious.
kinda have to.
Last step or no?
They kind of have to do it in segments with keeping, because ODOT wants them to keep businesses open.
Right.
And so they also want traffic to be able to flow, so I think the only way they can do that is to do it in segments.
But I meant, I don't mean, but I meant, yeah, of course, God, because, but they're gonna do segments fairly quickly together, right? I mean, it isn't like they're gonna put
Somewhat.
100 yards of paved now, and 6 months later, they'll put another 6 paved next to it, so that, you know,
I don't know what their schedule looks like or their layout. I know they were originally talking about segmenting up the B lane, which is the slow lane, through town, getting those done
right.
before they did anything in the middle. So it looks like they're kind of breaking up sections of that and trying to keep things open and moving and,
Bless your heart.
yeah.
So the next question is Knightsbridge, the upgrade and resulting closure, is that still on schedule to be closed soon?
I haven't heard anything officially from the county.
Okay.
Yeah,
on that one.
I thought the last update I got from Jerry was that it was summer of 2025.
Okay.
So that's a good thing,
Yes,
because by then, hopefully,
Well, that will
99
be
will be done. Now, that's gonna be a mess when they close that bridge, because that bridge will be closed for at least what?
3 months, probably 6 months.
6 months?
I think originally they were talking like 4 to 6 weeks with the more than likely being 10. So I don't think I don't think we were in the 6 month time period.
Well, we got several months,
But-
several months it's gonna be closed.
Yes.
Yes.
So on that note, I think I'm gonna take the rest of the list for the to-do, and I'm gonna email it to Spencer and have Spencer get back to me on it.
Okay.
And then we can do that. And then we'll talk about it next month to get a little finer detail.
Yep.
With that, the next subject is new business. So I'd like to thank Bob for his 16+ years of being here. And, yeah, his due diligence on the committee
Years.
and the big shoes that I'm now having to try to replace.
I'm sure you're great.
Another thing, would be is to discuss, Tracy, you can help me with this, is how many members on the committee is the normal, and what's the process to find Bob's replacements at least, and possibly adding one or two more members, or
Well, I think this commission is 7.
seven, okay?
So you, 7's really is, the biggest one we have is 9, and honestly, I voted against that. I think 7 is the biggest number you should go to.
Seven it is.
And,
Okay.
it's really very simple. You just let Maya know that there's an opening, which I believe she does know, because I already announced it to, I was leaving notes. But we can remind her, and then they'll just post it on the website that it's open, and then I'll mention it at the next meeting, you know, applications of being taken, and
And it would be okay to start looking and getting him or her on board, while Bob is still here.
depending on how long he's here, because the process is we first have to wait till we get applications.
Right,
You know, and then, typically it's the chair, so now you and the liaison, me, would have an interview set up and pick from how, whatever applicants there are, we would pick and appoint that person.
Right,
Then it has to go to council and be officially appointed,
right.
so.
But nothing stops Bob from coming, even if he isn't an official.
Correct.
So I was thinking that,
Anytime,
We can move him to the back row and have.
Right.
I originally had told Maya that I was gonna wait until I actually moved to resign. But if it helps the commission, I can resign at any time. And
But
so
still-
that you can, pardon me?
but you still have to come and see them.
Yeah, your knowledge is still required.
But, you know, I mean,
We'll make him an ex officio. member.
so I just need to know from the commission, how you guys would like to handle. it.
Well, I'd like to keep you in your position until we get a person on board and you can pass the baton.
And so once Maya posted online, you have to go to the city website and look at our committee and then see that there's openings. It's not like something that a lot of people necessarily see, but we could potentially post it
You could put it
on
on
the group and just say, hey, we're looking for a new member, and, you know, just kind of see what the response
Do you like
is.
to take notes?
Yeah, right. Looking for a secretary.
Yeah, don't scare them off, right, guys?
Another thing that's a good consideration too.
But the vacancy would have to be there if we're gonna post it, so he would have to resign, but we would really hope that you would still come until we get that person.
Is keeping in mind of members where they are located in town. Because we have, you know, we're pretty scattered right now, but we lose Bob on the west side. But we have Gary on the west side, and I'm on the west side. And,
Yeah, she's,
and then,
but like, as far as it goes, you're northeast, I look at it in the
Yeah, okay,
quadrants.
So we've got a west and east and
Southwest.
southwest.
pretty good. Is there any areas that we're missing, you feel?
I guess southeast, potentially.
I'm southeast.
Your southeast, representation.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you got, you're kind of south ending, I would, it depends, but you can't be too particular. But if we get multiple applications, we could lean towards somebody with a northwest.
It's interesting how it changes over the years, because we were like north side heavy and then south.
Mhm.
So Clint,
Yes,
what
sir.
did, you wanted to keep him up where he's at?
I think he's a valuable resource to keep him where he is and until we get someone to fill his shoes.
Okay, well, but.
But technicality, there has to be a vacancy to fill.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I will submit my letter of resignation
Oh, okay.
in the next
But
week or
please,
so.
still come.
Yeah.
But I will still,
Thank you.
Bob, you're required, you still notified, what,
that's very nice of you folks, but
House on the market yet?
it's still on the market. It's just taking longer than I thought. And so I have no idea how long it'll take, but that's immaterial.
Yeah, I was just
I
curious.
will participate as a citizen.
Thank you, we appreciate you.
so let's go ahead and Bob will sadly look forward to your letter of resignation. So we can open up a spot
Sure.
and you'll still sit in the front row while he or her sit in the back row.
No,
So-
side bump, yeah,
Yeah.
have all that
We
knowledge.
could squeeze a third seated over there, maybe.
I'll sit in the back row.
All right, moving along, here's a touchy subject. I would like to have the members, please consider being the full-time secretary. I know it is a huge task, a great task at times, but, I think it would be better for the committee to have one designated person, one person to contact me and go through, the city to put the notes on the records. And make sure that I have that one person, I know who it is at all times, that I need to reach out to and say, where's the minutes at? Or thanks for getting it to me a week, 2 weeks early, so. So take this time now until next month to please consider stepping up and filling that role. I greatly appreciate it. The next point is, I'd like to have a goal session. So I would like each member of the committee to pick 2 traffic safety related items that they would like to emphasize on. And have the committee, add to make a goal list. So we can come December, look at our goal list and say, we met these standards and or we need to work on our time management to get to these standards. So, that's just a goal setting item that we can, get our viewers up possibly on YouTube so we can beat city council. And go from there. So, take next month to pick the subjects. I greatly appreciate it. That's all the new business I have. Had no other input from anybody else. Let's go to city staff reports. Perfect timing.
Well,
sir.
so usually I get our police stats emailed out the morning of the meeting, but I got stuck on a drug DUI at 6 o'clock this morning. Had to draw blood at the jail, so it took me a while, so I wasn't able to do that, but I'll try to get those emailed out today or tomorrow. I did look at them at least, and I know we had just under 400 citations last month. We did a distracted driving operation in the construction zone, so we had Sergeant Shiramoda dressed as a construction worker.
Oh, boy.
And I drove by and he did an excellent job.
He did look like a construction worker, so the excavating company donated him for the day, a construction helmet and a vest. And he just walked through the middle of the construction zone with a radio. Anytime he saw a moving violation, he would radio it to us. We were staged on either side of the construction zone. I think Oregon City sent a couple officers to help with it. Very successful. We did it, I think, for 6 hours. And I think we did the stats on Facebook. I want to say we wrote 36 citations for cell phones. And I think overall we had over 50 traffic stops.
What's the greatest violation?
What's that?
What's the greatest violation in June?
Cell phoons, people holding cell phones. Yeah, it was a distracted driving mission. They've been having trouble with people hitting cones. And
Yeah, those pesky cones.
either they're doing it on purpose, they're intoxicated, or they're on their phone, and most of the time it's they're on their phone distracted. So that was pretty successful. So I have it down here.
How many people are just irritated around over on purpose?
Yeah.
I wonder how it is. Just, oh, whoops.
Oh, there was a couple, I think they said, but there is a pedestrian issue. I think it's high school kids walking through the construction zone, and I think they're accessing it from the Honda pits, from the Northwest 1st, Northwest 2nd Avenue neighborhood there, just like west of Cedar. They're accessing it behind Levels, the truck sales store. There's a hole in the fence, and apparently they're walking through there to cut to the high school. So that not only are they trespassing on railroad tracks, but they're walking through an active construction zone. So I've been working with ODOT and KNE to try to resolve that. They're working with Levels to try to fix the fence.
What is the path that the kids who walk from the north side of town to high school are supposed to be taking?
North Elm,
Just
so
in Elm?
the crosswalk right there at North Elm, yeah.
Okay.
So they're just cutting across the railroad tracks behind Levels,
I've been there for a long time.
yeah. And then
Because I lived over there and the kids were going through there.
Still, yeah. And then last week they had a elderly gentleman, I don't know which side he was trying to cross 99 at Birch from, but there were some flaggers out there and they tried to stop him. And he seemed disoriented, but he just walked directly across the road. They had to stop traffic for him. And then he ended up walking off the little ledge that they had dug out for and I think he injured his head. But it sounded like he was okay, but they're just concerned with trying to control pedestrians because the crosswalks, they're trying to get them directed in the right path, but it's hard for them to enforce people coming across the railroad tracks behind level, so we're trying to figure that out right now. Other than that, like I said, our social media page has been,
That was interesting to read.
they're more active on it now, the social media guy is, and sounds like the chief is more open now to doing more social media stuff, so. Maybe our efforts at this page kind of maybe sparked him to say, maybe we should do more on ours. Because I was kind of pushing him for a little while, and I think this may have tipped the iceberg on that one, so.
It's such sad news about them crossing the railroad in light of the other student down by Pine dying, it's just.
Yeah, we have some, ODOT has given us some overtime to enforce the construction zone, and I think we can use that to try to just park there near levels, maybe have somebody in an unmarked car park and wait for people to cross, and then we'll just stop them inside them and try to get the word out that they shouldn't be crossing there. So that is all I have. I'll try to send out the stats today or tomorrow. Unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, when you define on their cell phone,
So the law says that you cannot hold your phone while you're driving. So you can talk on the phone as long as you have a hands-free device. So if it's mounted and obviously hands-free, so connected to Bluetooth, you can even have it on your speakerphone if it's mounted, right? The law allows you to have like one tap. Just kind of like you're changing a song or touching your radio. The law allows that on your phone as long as it's hands-free.
so the majority of these people have their phone up to their ear.
Or worse.
Yeah.
So,
texting.
I would say
Well, I'm just trying
90% of people are either holding it like this while they're driving, or they're holding it like they're on speakerphone, or they're watching their directions on their phone. It's rare now to see this anymore. Most people talk on speakerphone and hold it.
But you already have a speaker, so why?
Or just, yeah.
Want to get
Put it upside down in your cup holder next to you, and they can hear you just fine.
One thing
I asked the same question.
There shouldn't, first of all, I know for my age, being on the phone and driving is not a good idea. Distractibility is, so I just don't answer my phone. But
So what about, you do the bike rodeo, and the little kids, they get helmets, so what if we have one for like the teenage driver set, and we give away cradles?
That would be a bad idea. So, yeah, that might not be a bad idea. So the teenage. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to find funding for that. 'Cause, speaking of bike radio and helmets, anytime we write a citation for the cell phone violation, a certain amount of money from that violation goes into a fund to fund bicycle helmets for kids. And so we use that every year for the helmet fund for the bike rodeo.
yeah.
Oregon doesn't require helmets, though, it's just, if you're smart, you use it, but you don't have to.
Yeah, so
Well,
they require helmets 16 and under,
Under
right?
16 under is.
And then if you're on like a electric scooter or e-scooter, certain ones you have to wear a helmet.
We had a question come up before you came, just to touch base real quick. Ninth and Holly.
And then North Redwood, concerns over speed on North Redwood.
So the Ninth and Holly was just, can you look at past data to see when there have actually been accidents at a specific intersection? Like if we want to look
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
last
we
10
can
years, can we just look at Ninth and Holly and
Yeah,
North
absolutely.
Holly and see what comes up? Okay, and then the speed concern, all that, but
Yeah, the scheduled Spencer said to repave North Redwood. And there's already kind of a speeding problem on there, and so we just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
And then, of course, because North Territorial seems to be getting so much more traffic dropping onto it because of 99. We'd certainly welcome your patrols there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere.
Not that anybody lives on the corner of
Yeah, I
Territorial,
know.
all that or anything.
and we're throwing out places that you can be if you want to get some speeders, Southwest Third, because 99 being closed, Grant being closed, and different roads.
It's fascinating watching people drive. through.
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of people driving through fast, because I mean, you can get through a couple blocks pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, if you get bored, feel free to. You can sit in my driveway, hang out at the church, whatever, they'll speed both ways.
What's your driveway, just in case I want to?
249 through Southwest Third. The only little warning is that it's a little bit of an angle, so if you're moving up kind of quick, make sure you take it at an angle so you don't bottom out.
Okay,
But the blue house, it's got a yellow card that's there pretty much all the time,
okay.
a red and a white one.
I'll keep it in mind. Thank you.
Sorry,
Feel free to put a ticket on there.
The parking ticket?
Thank you, Clint. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna head out too and Jackie will take over from him.
Awesome. Thank you. You guys have anything real quick, Clint?
Did you have anything you wanted to
Anything-
say?
anything to add?
Everything you do, no, I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything?
Just speeding and people running stop signs on 13th and Elm area.
Good.
13th and Elm.
Yeah.
Again and again.
Okay, let's see, so, let's go planning, Brianna.
Yes, I have a few updates. The business license application for Marshalls was approved, so that should be going in. We haven't heard anything from Grocery Outlet, so no update on them. Chipotle's site plan has been approved. They just need to get their final permitting from the county. And the beer library has a pre-con on May 16th. So those are my updates, and I'm here to answer questions if anyone has any.
What about the food cart pod, is that the beer library? Okay.
The food cart pod also does need a pre-con. So that's their next step.
That's the one by.
The old library.
Candy, there's another food pod one that was.
Over by the Lars.
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay, no, I was thinking of the one that is,
Part of the beer library.
yeah, that's the.
That's all one project there. So that's just the beer library project.
Now, I gotta admit, I am surprised by the change in that beer project.
Quickly, I started to just.
Half the building is gone.
It's gonna be open. It's gonna take
Yeah,
a break to
yeah,
jump
it's just
into
kind of.
Next one would be, city council liaison.
Actually, next one's public works.
Public works.
Sorry, turn out she did.
I just said be gentle with me, okay?
You're fine.
Okay.
Already talked about the ivy closure. Guys are up putting hanging baskets up this week. So downtown should hopefully start to go a little bit more. The last 2 weeks of May, we are going to be attempting to do some in-house crack sealing on some of the roads, renting a machine and seeing if it's something that the city wants to try to bring in-house, because historically trying to find contractors to come and do the crack sealing turns out to be more of a administrative nightmare than it's worth. So seeing if it's something that we can logistically do with the guys that we have. So we'll have that for the last 2 weeks of May. I kind of have a rough idea of what streets we'll be on, but I don't know for sure. But so if you see us out there yelling at each other, it's because we're trying to figure out.
What kind of machine are you using? The roto mill or profiler?
No, so we're not taking down any of the existing asphalt. It's like what we did up on Territorial,
Oh.
where it's got all that rubberized.
It looks like there's snakes all over the
Yep.
roads right now.
Slurs on the cracks.
Yeah, so looking at doing that in-house, because there's a lot of roads that aren't quite to the point of needing another overlay. But if we can seal them back up and keep the water from getting down in there, then we can hopefully get another 5, 6, 7 years out of them before we need to overlay it again. So, yeah, that's what we're working on this
I got a postcard in the mail from ODOT that they're about to start a 2-year project, working on Ivy.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's something almost gonna get that one right there. I was curious for the light at Township and Fourth, that was supposed to probably happen fairly soon, but that was on us and not ODOT. Does ODOT beginning their work have any impact on that?
So. I'm surprised that it came from ODOT because
Well,
technically it is
Clackamas
counted,
County.
okay, yeah. No, so Clackamas County is, they did get, Steve Elsner won their bid, technically they have their notice to proceed right now. But they decided, I think, that they were going to wait until after school was out to really start going through and tearing up some of the landscapes, but yes, it is a 1.5-year project. There is a traffic signal going to go in at Township and Ivy.
It's not gonna be activated.
I don't know when it's gonna be activated. I haven't had a chance to see what their schedule is. I don't know if the county's done a pre-construction with their contractor yet. This is just because I've talked with the contractor a couple of times. So once I know kind of a definite of what their plan is, I don't even know if they're gonna start at 99, if they're gonna start closer to 11, if they're because there's a lot of scope for work, and I don't know how they're planning on piecemealing it together. So once I have a little bit more information on that, I will bring that forward.
That was me, my question. Is it gonna collide with what ODOT's already doing on 89? Maybe we could discourage that, please.
Since we're talking about Ivy, are they going to put as part of the plan, changing the light structure at 13th
It only
and
goes down to
Ivy?
11.
No, that was not a part of this project. So this project, dealing with Kittleson Engineering, the county went out, dealing with redoing the lights on 13th. That is Clackamas County in-house engineering dealing with, so,
And Jerry has been in contact.
So it'll still happen, it's just, no, right now.
yes. Well, hopefully it will happen. I don't know, but I honestly don't know what they're.
Do I need to talk to somebody or?
Jerry's been talking.
Oh, okay.
And I rattled his fellow.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a house.
there's a lot of emails that have been sent, very few that have been responded to, so. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you,
Did you
sir.
ever contact the lady on Northeast Fourth about the crosswalk? Yeah, okay, we should try to do that. Did you discuss that one here yet?
Was that the rattle can one?
Some lady painted her own crosswalk on Northeast Fourth,
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
and we've been trying to contact
Wow.
her. Because they're concerned about speeding and we're trying to get them to come in here and do it the right way rather than.
Yeah.
Do you guys have something that takes paint up?
Not a good one, no.
It's basically paid over.
We had to,
Is that a citation of some
I
sort?
was gonna say, she should have to pay for that.
Is
We're
that-
working on it.
yeah,
Okay.
there's other things going on with that one, but yes, there was a citizen that decided to take it upon themselves to install a crosswalk. Unfortunately, it was illegal in how it was done and where it was done. So the guys went out and put tack over it as well as sand. So eventually that will bleed back through, because the only way to remove paint is to go through and actually scuff and remove the asphalt.
So basically it's covered up with something to help scuff it, so it's not.
It's not visible.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm thinking citation and restitution, but you know, that's
Yeah,
just
we
me.
still
We still have to-
prove who did it,
Yeah,
and we just, anytime we've gone over there, they just don't answer the door.
Start asking the neighbors if they saw him do it.
All right, well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, let's send Shimon over there in the construction outfit and go to the door.
Borrow utility uniform?
He's good.
yeah, that's all I got.
All right, now Tracy, I think it's yours.
I don't really have a lot to update, other than what Brianna already said, except I did go, first Thursday of this month, so we did the time capsule, went into the arch. And we planted a tree over in the courtyard between what was Wayward and the old City Hall building. And if you haven't seen that plaza area yet, since they revamped it after Wayward moved out, that place is gorgeous.
It is.
It's good, and it's not like specifically dedicated to any one business, so you can go get your wins, and they've got a setup area where they'll, for a stage, so there'll be music. I can't wait to enjoy that space this summer. It's gonna be really nice, so that was fun, but it got me thinking, because ODOT was at this first Thursday to answer questions to the citizens about 99. So, you know, because you have nothing else to do with your volunteer time, guys, maybe this would be a good place to once in a while have a table and discuss traffic safety issues, or take, give it out people to decide, this is the correct process, here's our meetings, you know, just a thought, anyway.
Where is the ODOT table? Because we went, but maybe I was just distracted by, you know, the Elsie house and all the things that I
Yeah,
was.
there was a house too. I honestly don't know where it was, I just know that they were there.
They were in the library.
They were in.
Oh, they're in like, we went
They
to
had
the
like,
library.
yeah,
so they're
there was a
like-
library open house that day too, that's true, yeah, and I didn't walk that far down, my knees could only go as far as the tree, and I was regretting that all night after I got home, so. I didn't get down to the library. But anyway, it just got me thinking it might be a good way to hand out information or, yeah. And so that's all, unless someone has a question. No, okay.
Okay, so the next one was Cambridge Fire District, and I put an update on that because I was able to sit down and have a little word with Matt English. And, he said that, he would be the one, that the district would elect to come to these meetings. And that he just has to ask the chief for more time to come over. So, I am working on him to actively participate. So,
He used to
yeah.
come, or Gary.
Yeah, well, he's, now with the chief being gone, he's up there with, Matt Dale.
Will be the chief.
Yeah, who will be the chief overseeing everything, so, his plate is fuller, and I understand that, respect that. But, I did emphasize to him that, we do need his input on issues that, come about, so. I will still work on him to get him to show up.
All you have to do is tell them that the police department shows up every time, and that might get some
That's
competition going there.
Fiscal responsibility.
I will, I promise.
That's great.
So the next on is board members' reports, and we already got Deanna, let's go Gary.
Not much of a report, I think we'll beat up the same projects, speeding. People distracted drivers. I don't know, I see it all the time, I'm not gonna pinpoint anything at any point. It's just happening and you just have to live with it for a while. That's it.
Sounds good, sir, thank you. Bob,
Nothing new.
except for this speed camera song, so let's continue.
And I've got some materials I'm gonna pass on to Eric.
Oh,
Comprehensive, the comprehensive
Yeah.
that you're taking over and the red flux things.
Passing them.
A literal ton.
yeah, that physical food. Clint, we already got, Jennifer?
You already pretty much got everything from me, thanks for letting me mention Southwest Third, Brand's gonna open back up, I was really curious, because it's been closed for like a month, I'm like, oh, whatever.
It'll open, then it'll close again. It seems to be better.
It'll be on and off every other day.
Yeah, it's not good, and thanks for the night, but I have updates, all good.
I do have one more thing.
Oh, yes.
Are you guys aware there's a pedestrian bicycle committee here as well in the city? I didn't know that until recently.
No.
So I'm gonna attend that one next month. Or is it this one? I think it's
They also, not to interrupt, they also have a planning liaison. It's Emma. So if you guys want to pass info through planning, we can also do that. We try to, at our staff meeting every week, we talk about updates for the committees as well. So you also have that connection here. They have a planning liaison.
So I'm gonna try to attend that this
As
month.
long as it doesn't conflict with ours, please. We want you to know.
But I'm getting overtime out of this. It's actually 6:30 PM, so.
I think we're the only morning.
Yes.
I don't think so, there's the adult centers in the afternoon, but most of them are usually.
Yeah, Arch is at night.
Jackie?
Okay. I have a speeding concern on Southeast 13. Actually, my husband was complaining. He's been getting passed by a car on his way to work about 5:15 in the morning between Southeast 13th and Savoy, I think it is.
Yeah,
Same park, good morning.
it's the people going wherever.
Getting out of town.
Yeah.
this town.
I go to the distribution center or with the industrial area, I guess. So, yeah, he's doing the speed limit, so then there's probably late for work. So I thought I'd mention that earlier.
I will let our graveyard, you know.
And then I just noticed something with we've had this conversation before with the high school fields and the parking. And I just found it interesting, it's getting worse again. People parking on the carrier, parking past the corner on the way to Safeway, like, why would you leave your car there? It's like in the middle of the road.
Yeah, how'd y'all do during that 7-on-7 tournament?
Oh, yeah, that's where the parking was.
This weekend.
And that's coming again this week.
Yeah, they parked even in front of my house. It's like,
Yeah, we're having it
I
again.
had like this big old truck, I couldn't even see to get out of my driveway. And also for public works, had all that rain again, it's been, the water's pulling up again across from the Mormon church.
Okay.
When it rains sometimes, I don't know if there's a drain there that needs to be.
That nothing's gonna get done until they move out. So.
Yeah.
The church moves it? Oh, you just.
He said, I don't think the church is gonna go anywhere.
That was not my call back then, by the way. I was the one that was out. Knee deep in that water, so.
I felt sorry for my neighbor though, because then my neighbor next door's driveway goes down into his property, so if the water came up too far, his front yard was all sticky. Yeah, it was bad, so at least I wasn't.
It's just like over by Storms
So is that on,
on 13.
And so the last one is mine. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
had a lot this one. And then I just had one more thing that I thought was kind of fun. If you guys go out of town, like right past Aurora, they have like that flashing speed sign. Have you seen it? Can we get one that smiles at you or
It does different things, like if you
something,
thumbs up.
yeah, rad or thumbs down?
Yeah, that's, I saw that, and there's another one somewhere
People
else.
seem to like it.
There's two people, there are two
I
places.
think, I think the theory behind that one is that, like ours shows the speed you're going, and people are like, I wonder how fast I can get on this.
Mhm.
And that one, you can't really do it, it just tells you if you're.
You're just doing a good job or shame on you.
We're on first.
Where's that at?
It's on Henley Road, so as you're leaving Aurora, going towards the truck stop,
Yeah.
you go over the railroad tracks, and it's right as you go up the hill by airport as well.
Yeah, it's
Coming in and coming out.
I guess I'll be going there next.
pretty funny.
And then I have the same old things, of speeding on 13th and that stops at on 13th and something's a hot mess. Yeah, that's all.
So the last one's myself, and I have gotten on the comp meeting plan schedule, so I will be attending those meetings. Filling in where Bob left off. And to follow up, I need to go after this meeting, go talk to Spencer about the street fee. I sent him a little email last week and he hasn't got back to me about any progress on that. So I'm not looking at you, Spencer, for any input. So, but the street fee, huh?
I'm actually go back.
Street fee one and comp plan are the two new adjustments on my schedule, so along with the the speed monitoring camera system.
Like to add one more to your schedule.
Yes, please, sir, thank you, sir.
Or if somebody else would.
May I have?
I have regularly attended the pre-construction meetings.
Yes.
As a ex-official part of that, mainly always advocating for making sure the streets width and sidewalks are in every plan, and those kinds of things. And it's interesting over time, the participants are actually starting to talk about road width and sidewalks. So it can have positive impact, but it's really kind of nice to be there to see and to reinforce how all those agencies are really trying to do a quality job in whatever development is happening. There is a lot of ownership in producing good quality developments here in Canby. And, you know, I went, and up to you guys what you want to do, to reinforce that. As a citizen, to reinforce and to tell them, hey, good job. You know,
I'd be happy to do it. I'm always asking them once it gets to the planning commission, I'm just like, hey, what about the road widths? What about the sidewalks? What about this? So
Can you do that?
I could, that's what I'm doing when they come to us, but if I could do it ahead of time, I'd be happy to sit in those. meetings.
Duly delegated,
Yeah.
boom.
I'll tell them.
See how fast I did that?
Good job.
Yeah, and I would imagine 99% of the time I could go. I have a pretty flexible schedule, so
Yeah,
once I have
it's
some.
usually done in the mornings.
Yeah, they are usually
Usually
during the
around this
mornings. I will say though, it's not so much of an active role as most of just kind of an observer and then maybe just a quick.
Yep, don't forget about this.
Yeah.
Are they super early meetings? 'Cause as everyone's fine, see if they're gonna get out of the house and stuff, if there is not.
Not typically. So.
Okay. With that being said and done, hope I did well for my first time.
Well, that's very good.
All right, next meeting is June 12th, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Have a great week.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Having this,
But Jackie's gonna know that.
Yeah, Jackie will get.
Is the comp plan thing